Disserendipity is a place where all the roads have been traveled, all the stones have been turned over. In disserendipity, everything has been named. It's a place filled with facts where the unknown has been felled by the giant double-edged sword of the internet, eradicated by the cyclone of the digital world. My series of photographs serve as an allegorical representation of the modern world, where no matter where you are, there's always a signpost to point you on your way. I began this series of photographs a few years ago when I was walking on a rural gravel road near my house. I stopped at the intersection of two roads and photographed the signpost, and I was struck by how orderly the world had become, with many kinds of signposts everywhere: physical, ethereal, intellectual, and emotional. As the world becomes more connected, it grows ever smaller. It is too easy today to make a few swipes or taps on a smartphone to discover where you are and what you think you need to know. It is too easy to go through life safely ensconced behind a screen, secure in the knowledge that all things are known or knowable. It's no longer possible to be lost, either physically or intellectually, transferring our world into one where nothing can be discovered by serendipity. For the disserendipity images, I wanted to create classical black and white landscape images with a long tonal scale. I wanted to say a few things about the technology that I used to make the images. I remain a dedicated film photographer. For the disserendipity images, I used a medium format camera, a Hasselblad 501 cm with either an 80mm or a 50mm Zeiss lens. To create images with a look and feel of a classic black and white film, I used a classic black and white film, Kodak Trax. I used a film camera because I wanted to create tension between the past, the way things were, versus now, how things are in the present. Most photographers would think that using a film camera from the 1980s to photograph a now project would be nonsensical at best. In most of the images, I used an 80mm Zeiss lens. When I tried to photograph this intersection, I found that the 80mm lens had an insufficient angle of view. So I acquired a 50mm Zeiss lens and went back to rephotograph this intersection, producing this image. Images in this series were photographed with a deep orange filter, the number 21. This was done to darken the blue sky and increase the contrast with the clouds. I initially contemplated using a red filter, which renders blue skies nearly black. However, the red filter also absorbs some green light, and initial tests indicated that the red filter rendered foliage muddy and with reduced contrast. The exposures were determined with a Sekonic spot meter. Experience indicated that in full sun, exposure would be 17 EV. If the sun were behind clouds, the exposure would be reduced to 15 EV. I chose EV metering as Zeiss lenses have a convenient mechanism to set EV values. It is perhaps a jaded adult view of the world where we are washing information, but almost all digital information is void of any meaningful context. What is needed sometimes is to tear down the signposts and wander freely and aimlessly through a wilderness, lost and ignorant, to rediscover happenstance and serendipity. To live happily in a world where nothing is predictable and schedules have no meaning.